You've been lied to. The biggest lie? That being a good person will earn you respect. Think about it. You're honest, loyal, and kind. But instead of respect, you get taken for granted. Your patience is seen as weakness, and your kindness is treated like a doormat for everyone else to wipe their feet on. Sound familiar? If you're tired of finishing last for doing the right thing, then you're in the right place. This isn't another video about being nice. This is about something far more potent. We're going to dismantle that old belief and replace it with a truth that life has already shown you. Respect isn't given. It's commanded. And it doesn't come from your goodness. It comes from your strength. The next few minutes, we'll explore the unsettling psychology of power. You'll discover why the most powerful people are often the quietest, why seeking attention is the fastest way to lose control, and the uncomfortable truth about why a little bit of fear is more reliable than a lifetime of love. We're diving deep into the art of becoming so unreadable, so unshakable, that people can't help but respect you. This is a journey into the kind of self-mastery that makes you untouchable. It's about learning to say no, moving with strategy instead of emotion, and building a presence that shifts the energy of any room you walk into. Stabilize dive in. I have a question for you. Comment below with a simple yes or no. Have you ever felt your kindness was mistaken for weakness? Let's see how many of us share this experience. If you're ready to stop being overlooked and start being respected, then you're one of us. Hit that subscribe button and join a community dedicated to reclaiming its power. We're not just here to be good, we're here to be formidable. Let's begin. Think back for a moment. How many times in your life have you tried to do the right thing, only to walk away feeling smaller, weaker, or even humiliated? Maybe you stayed quiet when someone disrespected you because you believed patience was a sign of maturity. Maybe you gave your loyalty to someone who never valued it, hoping your commitment would inspire them to change. Maybe you opened your heart, convinced that honesty and transparency would be met with protection and care. And yet, what did you receive in return? More often than not, your silence was mistaken for weakness. Your kindness was taken as permission to use you, and your honesty became ammunition against you. It's painful, isn't it? You did everything you were told would make you good, but instead of being rewarded, you were left with the heavy realization that being good by itself isn't enough. This truth hits hard because it shakes the foundation of what many of us were raised to believe. We were told to play by the rules, respect others, and eventually life would respect us back. But here's the reality. Life doesn't honor good intentions. It honors strength. People don't treat you better because you're kind. They treat you better because you have boundaries. They don't respect your honesty. They respect your ability to walk away when your honesty isn't valued. They don't admire your loyalty. They admire the discipline that prevents you from giving it to the undeserving. That's the turning point, the emotional breakthrough that separates those who stay trapped in cycles of disappointment from those who finally reclaim their power. You see, the problem was never your kindness. The problem was the absence of boundaries protecting that kindness. Goodness without strength is an open door, and in this world, open doors invite thieves. This isn't about becoming cold or heartless. It's about realizing that your value isn't in being endlessly available, but in knowing when to say no, when to disappear, when to stop explaining yourself. The moment you recognize that being good will never be enough to earn respect, something inside you begins to shift. You stop giving yourself away so cheaply. You stop waiting for validation that never comes. And you start to see that strength, not goodness, is what makes people listen, what makes them cautious, what makes them think twice before crossing you. That's the moment you begin to transform, not into someone cruel, but into someone unshakable. Transformation begins with rejection of approval. There comes a point in every pinyon prison. You don't even notice it at first. It's woven so deeply into how you were raised. From childhood, you learned to seek gold stars, compliments, nods of acceptance. As adults, it just changes shape. The boss's recognition, the friend's validation, the partner's reassurance, the online likes. And yet, if you're honest, hasn't this hunger left you exhausted? Haven't you noticed how needing to be liked makes you bend, shrink, or silence yourself just to fit into someone else's picture of who you should be? Approval feels sweet in the moment, but it quickly fades, leaving you hungry again, chasing the next hit. That cycle isn't love. It isn't respect. It's dependence. And dependence is weakness. Real transformation begins the day you stop needing to be understood by everyone. Imagine standing in a crowded room where everyone is shouting opinions about you, some flattering, some cruel. If you keep running from one voice to another, you'll spin yourself into exhaustion. But if you stand still, rooted, unmoved, letting the noise wash over you, something powerful happens. The crowd no longer controls your direction. You do. This is what it means to reject approval. Not in anger, not in defiance, but in quiet recognition that your worth isn't up for debate. Think of the tree. It doesn't ask for applause when it grows taller. It doesn't explain itself when it sheds leaves in the fall. It simply follows its nature, season after season, without permission. And because of that silent discipline, it becomes unshakable, a presence others admire without needing explanation. That's what you are meant to become. So let me ask you, how much of your life has been shaped by the invisible hand of approval? How many times have you said yes when your soul wanted to scream no? How many times have you delayed a dream, softened your truth, or played small because you were afraid of not being liked? If you felt this, know that you're not alone. But also know this: the moment you choose clarity over approval, discipline over distraction, and self-mastery over self-betrayal, you step into a new identity. People may not like it, they may not understand it, but they will feel it. And in time, they will respect it. Tip 3. Power is built in silence. Has always carried more weight than noise. Think about the last time someone in your life went quiet on you. Didn't you notice how your mind filled the silence with questions, doubts, and assumptions? That's the hidden power of restraint. It makes others do the work for you. Noise demands attention, but silence commands it. And yet most people believe that to be respected, they must constantly prove themselves, explain their decisions, or defend their worth. But here's the truth. The louder you shout, the more predictable you become. Real strength isn't in constant reaction. It's in moving so carefully, so intentionally, that no one can anticipate your next step. Imagine a chess master. He doesn't announce his strategy out loud. He doesn't rush to explain why he moves a piece. He stays quiet, calculating, allowing his opponent to reveal themselves. That's how power works in life, too. When you act with restraint, when you stop handing out explanations, when you let people wonder instead of always knowing, you shift the balance. You become unpredictable. And unpredictability is leverage, because people cannot attack what they cannot read. Have you ever noticed how those who talk the most often achieve the least? Their energy is spent on performance, not results. Meanwhile, the person who says little, who works silently, who lets outcomes speak instead of promises. That's the person everyone eventually respects, even fears. Silence is not emptiness, it is precision. It's the quiet space where strategy is born. The next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, to defend your actions, or to prove your worth, pause. Ask yourself, who am I really serving by speaking right now? Am I strengthening my position or giving someone else the map to my weaknesses? The strongest presence in any room isn't the one who fills it with words, but the one whose stillness makes others second-guess their own. When you practice restraint, you stop being a player in the game and start becoming the one who designs it. So reflect on this. Are you exhausting yourself with noise, or are you quietly shaping outcomes through strategy? When you begin to move in silence, you stop chasing power. You start embodying it. 4. Attention is weakness. One of the hardest truths to face is that the very thing we crave most, attention, is often the source of our deepest weakness. Think about it. When you need to be seen, when you need to be praised, you hand over the keys to your emotions. Suddenly, a compliment can lift you, but a single criticism can shatter you. You become like a puppet with strings others can pull simply by deciding when to give or withhold recognition. Have you ever noticed how exhausting it feels to constantly wonder what others think of you? That's not freedom. That's bondage. And it's the kind of bondage that keeps powerful people weak, because no matter how much they achieve, they're still chained to the opinions of others. Ellie understood this better than most. Rulers didn't fall because they lacked strength. They fell because they wanted applause. They wanted to be admired, and that desire made them predictable, vulnerable, and easy to manipulate. The same is true for us today. When your worth is tied to being liked or admired, all someone has to do is withhold their approval and you'll dance to their tune. That's not power. That's dependence dressed up as confidence. But when you release the need for recognition, something inside you shifts. You begin to see that impact matters more than image. You stop asking, "Did they notice what I did?" and start asking, "Did it change the outcome?" That's the pivot from weakness to strength, from performance to presence. It's like a candle in a dark room. It doesn't shout for people to look at it. It simply burns, and because it burns, everyone notices. That's the difference between chasing attention and commanding it through results. Why, I'll ask you honestly. How much of your life has been spent trying to be seen? How often have you dressed your choices, your words, even your silence, just to earn approval? And how would your life change if you stopped? Imagine walking into a room and not needing a single nod, a single glance, a single word of praise to feel solid in yourself. That's freedom. That's power. Because once you no longer need to be seen, no one can control what you build in the shadows. Your focus shifts from applause to results, from admiration to impact. And ironically, it's in letting go of attention that you become unforgettable. 5. Fear is more reliable than love. We've all been told that love conquers all, that if you are kind enough, patient enough, selfless enough, the world will treat you with equal care. But if you look back honestly, has that really been your experience? Love, when freely given without strength behind it, often makes people comfortable. Too comfortable. They start assuming you'll always be there, that you'll always forgive, that your generosity is endless. And comfort, unchecked, breeds disrespect. When people no longer feel a cost to crossing your boundaries, they stop respecting them altogether. This is why Machiavelli argued that fear, not love, is the foundation of lasting respect. Not fear in the sense of rage or cruelty, but the cold, quiet awareness that if someone crosses the line, there will be consequences. Think of it this way. When a parent disciplines a child, it's not because they hate them. It's because without boundaries, the child would grow careless. The same dynamic plays out in every human relationship. Without a sense of consequence, people slip into carelessness, and carelessness turns into disrespect. But when there's an invisible boundary, a weight in your silence, a presence that says, "Be careful with me," people tread with caution. That caution is respect, and respect is the soil where trust and influence can grow. Have you ever noticed how the people you admire most are not necessarily the ones you feel the warmest toward, but the ones you hesitate to disappoint? That hesitation is fear, not the chaotic kind that causes panic, but the measured kind that creates clarity. It's the reason soldiers follow a disciplined general. It's why employees respect the leader who doesn't tolerate excuses. And it's why even in your own life, the people who've left the deepest imprint on you are often those whose boundaries you could never take lightly. This isn't about becoming a tyrant. It's about learning that love without strength is fragile, but fear, when controlled, creates a framework where love can actually survive. If people know you can be walked over without pushback, your love loses its weight. But if they sense that your patience has limits, that your kindness has edges, they will not only respect you more, they will value your love more, because it is no longer cheap. So reflect for a moment. In your own life, have you been loved but disrespected? What might shift if you stopped trying to be endlessly likable and instead became someone whose silence carried consequence? That subtle fear is not cruelty. It's protection. It ensures your presence is never taken for granted again. Six, mystery creates control. There is a reason why people are never the ones who overshare, but the ones who leave you guessing. Mystery creates a tension in the air, a quiet pull that makes others adjust themselves around you without you saying a word. When people can predict your every move, when they know exactly what you'll say, when you respond on cue to every insult or demand, you become easy to manage, easy to dismiss, easy to control. But when your silence stretches longer than expected, when your reactions are measured instead of automatic, when your presence is felt but not always available, people hesitate. They begin to second-guess themselves, to wonder, what is he thinking? What is she planning? That uncertainty is leverage. Think about the last time someone you cared about suddenly withdrew, went quiet, or stopped being so available. Didn't your mind immediately start racing? Did you not begin filling the silence with your own imagination, replaying every conversation, questioning every detail? That is the psychology of mystery. It's not confrontation, it's conditioning. People are wired to fear the unknown, and when you master unreadability, you become the unknown. Consider the lion in the tall grass. Its power isn't in constant roaring. It's in being unseen, in knowing that at any moment it could move, or not. That suspense is what keeps the herd alert. In the same way, your unpredictability keeps people cautious. They don't push too far, because they don't know how, or when, you might respond. It's not cruelty, it's design. Mystery creates space for respect to grow, where explanations would only breed familiarity and carelessness. Neil, let me ask you, have you ever made yourself too predictable, too available, too easy to read? How many times has your eagerness to explain or defend given others the very map they needed to disarm you? Now, imagine the opposite. A version of you who doesn't explain every move, who doesn't respond to every provocation, who disappears when expected and reappears when least convenient. Suddenly, people can't take you lightly. They begin to measure their words more carefully. They pause before testing your limits. You didn't force their respect. You conditioned it through your mystery. That's the real elegance of power. Not in shouting commands, not in demanding recognition, but in letting silence, unpredictability, and absence do the work for you. Presence can be felt more deeply in mystery than in noise. 7. Emotional detachment is ultimate power. The final shift, and perhaps the hardest one, is learning that emotional detachment is the ultimate form of power. Most people are ruled by their feelings. An insult stings, so they lash out. A rejection wounds, so they chase after validation. Anger rises, and they explode without thinking of the cost. But here's the truth. Every time you react emotionally, you hand control of your life to someone else. Whoever can trigger you owns you. Have you ever noticed this in your own life? How a single, careless comment from someone could ruin your whole day while they moved on without a second thought? That is the price of emotional attachment. Detachment doesn't mean becoming cold or numb. It means becoming unshakable. It's like the ocean. Storms may disturb the surface, but the depths remain calm, untouched. When you master that kind of stillness, you stop being easy to provoke. Your silence becomes unsettling. Your patience becomes intimidating. And when you finally choose to act, it isn't emotional chaos. It's deliberate design. People begin to realize they cannot control you with words, guilt, or even praise. They can't pull your strings because you no longer dance to their tune. Think of a seasoned chess player. While others panic over each move, he waits, observes, and plays with precision. He isn't swayed by emotion. He follows strategy. Life is no different. Emotional detachment gives you the ability to see clearly while everyone else is blinded by rage, fear, or pride. That clarity is power, because it allows you to shape outcomes while others are still reacting to noise. So ask yourself, how many battles have you lost, not because you were weak, but because you were provoked into fighting on someone else's terms? How many times did emotion steer you into traps you could have avoided by staying calm? Imagine what would shift if nothing could shake your focus. If anger, shame, or flattery bounced off you without pulling you off course. That's when you stop being a participant in the chaos and start becoming the one who designs the game itself. Detachment is not the absence of feeling. It is the refusal to be ruled by it. And once you learn that, you become untouchable. Others may scream, provoke, or beg for a reaction, but you will no longer flinch. You will move only when you decide, not when they demand. That is true power. There comes a moment when you realize that the life you were told to live, being endlessly good, endlessly patient, endlessly available, was never going to protect you. It was never going to earn you the respect you longed for. What truly protects you, what commands respect, is strength. Not the kind that shouts or demands, but the kind that lives in silence,